Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for FPL video content for the 2019-20 season. Now today I've got for you a team selection video, so we're going to look at the team that I'm putting forward for Game Week 34 plus, and we're also going to be looking at my team so far for Game Week 33 plus as well. As things stand right now as I record this video, Burnley against Sheffield United has finished, Newcastle and West Ham have just kicked off, and I've just seen that Newcastle have conceded an early goal, so that is obviously going to affect a little bit of what I have to say in this video, so it's going to be a little bit off the fly, I suppose, in that regard. But first of all, before I say anything, if you haven't subscribed to me already, please do consider subscribing and clicking my bell icon for notifications. Plenty of FPL content, I'm sure you're going to love it, and I'm aiming to get 1,000 subscribers before the before the start of the next season, so I think we can do that. So let's go into my score so far, and I'm doing pretty well. I'm doing not bad at all. So if you watched my last team selection video, you might have seen that I said that I was going to take out Aubameyang and put in Jesus. In the end, I didn't do that. I did say my backup option would be to take out Harvey Barnes and replace him with Mahrez, which is what I ended up doing. The reason for that is because Gabriel Jesus didn't look so good. I recorded it before Man City had played, and Jesus just didn't look the part. I wasn't confident in making that transfer. And I thought, what is the transfer that's going to improve my squad the most? And it was Harvey Barnes to Mahrez, which sort of freed up my defensive issues a little bit, because I did have a couple of defensive concerns. So I ended up playing Egan. My other defenders on the bench are Doherty and Lascelles. And I thought, okay, I think Arsenal can score. I want to go all in with hoping that Aubameyang would score. So I took Doherty off. Lascelles I also considered starting in defence, but I thought, because he had that 75% chance of starting because of a cut that he had. Apparently he had quite a nasty cut. So I decided not to play him either, and that seemed like a good decision given that Newcastle have already conceded to West Ham. And I went for Egan in defence, who, although he lost his clean sheet at the stroke of half time, did end up scoring later on in the game. So that's a lovely 8 points in total, and then an extra 1 point for the bonus, up to 9. So that's ended up being a really, really good decision. Nick Pope, disappointing, first non-clean sheet in a while. Wan-Bissaka, disappointing that Manchester United conceded 2 goals. I can't believe that. But what a game that was, and which made my captaincy decision for Fernandes even more sweet. 15 points times 2, up to 30. And that's huge, isn't it? It's one of those moments in the season where you get a captaincy decision right, and it can absolutely rocket you up. My live rank as things stand, I am 148,000 roughly. So I've absolutely rocketed up over the last couple of weeks just because of correct captaincy decisions, and I think that's so important. So make sure you try and listen to what I'm saying on captaincy decisions, because for some reason I'm on a bit of a roll here. Martial again, 14 points, absolutely beautiful. Aubameyang disappointing not to get a goal. He's still a concern area for me, and I'm not confident about keeping, but we'll talk about him in a little while. Calvert-Lewin, he's been blanking, but maybe he can get something against Tottenham. This will be like his final audition for me before I decide what I need to do with him, basically. And Jimenez, again, another blank, which is slightly disappointing. I brought him in, and he's got 2 blanks since then, which I still want him in my team, but yeah, he had a difficult game against Arsenal. Aubameyang had a difficult game against Wolves, so I'm not going to be too worried about that. If any players were going to blank, I would probably say it's going to be those 2 anyway. So now it's a case of, because I've got Alexander-Arnold, De Bruyne so highly owned, it's basically going to be a case of how's Mahrez going to do, and can Calvert-Lewin get anything. So pretty confident still. The only things that can really go wrong for me this week is if De Bruyne absolutely bangs, and a lot of people would have captained him, and if Salah bangs as well, a lot of people would have captained him as well. So those are the concerns for me right now. But overall, I'm really happy with how my team's doing, way above average in terms of score, and I'm hoping we can kick on with the next week's selection. So let's move on to that. So let's have a look here. So right now, Pope stays in goal against West Ham, I think. Although West Ham have improved by scoring far more goals than you perhaps expect them to, with Jared Bowen and Mikel Antonio doing really well at the moment. So that's the only concern with Pope there. My other option is to play McCarthy, who's playing against Everton, who's on my bench at the moment. But we're sticking with Pope at the moment. The scores that he's got recently have been so good. 1 blank this week in Game Week 33 is not going to put me off Pope, so we'll keep him. Trent Alexander-Arnold, he's the one man I'm keeping from Liverpool. He's sort of my shield from the Liverpool points, if you like, because I do think Liverpool are still going to be picking up points. Klopp says that they're going to be playing full strength squad every week. I don't know how much I believe that. It's certainly not tempting me with Salah or Mane or anyone like that quite yet. But I am happy to keep one Liverpool defender just for now. So that will be Alexander-Arnold's job. And then against Brighton, a fairly easy game, you would say. Liverpool probably get a clean sheet there, you would say. Wan-Bissaka against Aston Villa. I'm confident about that one as a defender. I've spoken a lot about how much Aston Villa have improved defensively, but in terms of attack, they haven't really improved very much at all. So Wan-Bissaka for a clean sheet is still very much on. I'm not going to be worried about them. Manchester United conceding a couple of goals against Bournemouth. I do sort of see that as an anomaly. And yeah, Manchester United stats in defence look really good. Wan-Bissaka getting forward, trying to create lots of chances. Again, I think Wan-Bissaka actually would have got an assist, but the goal was ruled out for offside. So again, Wan-Bissaka being creative again, and I think he's such a useful player to have in the Manchester United team. And then finally in defence is Doherty against Sheffield United. Sheffield United famously don't offer very much going forward. So in terms of defensive acumen, Doherty is still going to be up there, and then there's always the possibility that he gets involved with a goal or an assist. You never know. So again, happy with that. I'm so happy with my team right now, as you'll probably start to gather. Into midfield, and Bruno Fernandes, what can I say? He's just insane, isn't he? His scores are just fantastic. He really is rivaling De Bruyne as the most important player to own in FPL. So yeah, more than happy to keep him. Like I said, Aston Villa improved defensively. We'll see how they do against Liverpool, a team that is like a real high class above them, and I believe Manchester United are a real high class above them as well. So we'll see what happens in the Aston Villa against Liverpool game. See how they set up and how they defend, basically, and that's going to affect how confident I am in the Manchester United attackers, especially when it comes to captaincy. They're staying either way, obviously. And my next guy is Martial. Another great week for him. I know he fires a bit hot and cold, but oh my god, what a goal! If any of you guys haven't seen the goal Martial scored against Bournemouth, you need to check it out. What a sweet strike! It really brought me back to sort of FIFA 15, where you just can cut in from the left wing and do this excellent curling shot out to the right far side post. So yeah, absolutely loved seeing that, and very happy to own Martial out of position. I do think he is a really important player. The only problem is now that because I've got Wan-Bissaka, Fernandes and Martial, I can't get Greenwood, and it's sort of like if I could have a fourth Manchester United player, it would definitely be Greenwood. He's just the best option. He's like having Rashford but better for half the price. So yeah, anyone who did get Greenwood in this week, I think you'll be really confident with that one. So yeah, well done for anyone who brought him in, because he's absolutely smashing it. And then I've got in midfield, I've got De Bruyne against Newcastle. Newcastle, I don't think are unbeatable in terms of clean sheets. I know they have got a reputation for conceding a few goals, but I don't think they are untouchable. And I think a team like Manchester City, who are just scoring for fun at the moment, can really do one over on Newcastle. So very confident about having De Bruyne, and then also having Mahrez, who is sort of a slight differential. I know a lot of people are a bit sceptical about the Mahrez risk rotation. I do think he'll play against Southampton this evening. You might have already seen it. He might have already played if you're watching this a little bit later on. But yeah, against Newcastle, I just hope that he starts again, because when he does play, he really is. He's a joy to watch. He's very capable of scoring goals, great goals in fact, getting assists, making these excellent dribbles past players. I think he's quality, and yeah, I'm glad I brought him in. And then going into up front, we've got Aubameyang against Leicester. Like I said, there are some concerns about Aubameyang just because he's playing so far wide. The Arsenal of old, it was a case of lob it up to Aubameyang. Aubameyang will just score you a goal. So just get it to Aubameyang, he will score. Now it seems like the goals and the attacks are far more spread out across all of the different Arsenal attackers, and it seems to be working for Arsenal. So I don't see that tactic changing. So perhaps Arsenal are preparing for a life without Aubameyang, where he isn't the central figure anymore, if you like. So that's not good for FPL. When you're talking about FPL assets, you want to pick the players who are central to their team. They're going to be having a lot of the ball, a lot of shots, and when all the goals are spread out, that's not really a team you want to be invested in terms of attack. So yeah, problem area. Calvert-Lewin, I said his audition is against Tottenham, so we'll see how he does. I do think Tottenham have some real defensive fragilities, so I don't think that'll be a hard game. And if I'm going to be confident in a game for Calvert-Lewin, although I would have perhaps expected him to score against Norwich, this Spurs game is another game where I'm thinking, yeah, I think Calvert-Lewin can bully that Spurs defence. So again, confident about him. And then Jimenez against Sheffield United. I'm not really sure what to think about Sheffield United. Are they good at defending? Are they bad at defending? They seem a little bit all over the place at the moment. Perhaps that's not because that's because they haven't had their full back five in some games so far since the return. But this game against Wolves, Sheffield United look like they're going to have their whole back five back again. Henderson back, obviously, since his break against when he played Manchester United. O'Connell's back. So yeah, that is a small concern there, but it's Jimenez at the end of the day, and it's Wolves who are doing so well this season. Although they disappointed a little bit against Arsenal, I think Wolves are still going to be, they're still really challenging for those Champions League spots, and I don't think Sheffield United is going to cause them too much problems, which gives them a good opportunity to get a clean sheet and perhaps a goal or two, and hopefully Jimenez will be the man to score one of those goals. So that's basically the first team. On the bench, I've got McCarthy against Everton. I could swap him for Pope. I'm not sure. I think I prefer Pope against West Ham. Then I've got Egan on the bench, home against Wolves. I do think Wolves will beat Sheffield United, so there's no real reason to play Egan. I've got Jordan Henderson wasting away on my bench, as he has been since the break, where I put him in for some reason. I'm not really sure. Against Brighton, so he's not going to play. And then Lascelles, he is back. He's not injured anymore, but he plays against Manchester City, so there is no chance he's getting anywhere near my first team. So yeah, in terms of the team right now, it looks right. It looks like the right 11 to be playing. It's just a case of where I'm going to make my transfer, and I do think, again, the most problematic area is Aubameyang. So last week I said I was going to do one thing and I did another thing, so I'm going to be a little bit more vague because it is difficult to make final decisions before the game week has finished. So this is my plan. So Aubameyang is the one I want to get out. I want to replace him with either Harry Kane or Jesus. I like Harry Kane because he's central to every Spurs attack. He's the only player that seems to be worth having at Spurs right now. Son I'm not convinced by because he's playing so wide and so deep, which is not what we like. We like a player that's very far forward. So all balls are going to be going into Harry Kane. He had the ball in the back of the net in game week 32 4 times. Obviously 3 of those goals were disallowed, but he did still score 1, which is more than we can be saying about Aubameyang this week just gone. So yeah, so Harry Kane is a better option than Aubameyang right now, I would say. Plus, he plays against Bournemouth, who just conceded 5 to Manchester United. They've conceded, what did they concede? 3 against Newcastle the game before? Or was it 4? I can't remember now. But Bournemouth are conceding loads of goals. If you look at their defensive stats, they look absolutely rubbish. They're conceding loads of chances. So that is a team that you want to target. And Harry Kane against them it seems like a no-brainer, really, doesn't it? So we'll see how he plays against Everton. If he looks rubbish, then I perhaps won't go for him. And if Jesus looks really good against Southampton, then I'll perhaps choose him instead. But as I say, I wasn't convinced by Jesus last week. I don't expect to be too convinced by him this week. I don't even know if he'll start. He's more of a rotation risk. Blah, 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 blah. Harry Kane could be the better option there. Plus, but then, this is the third plan, the backup plan. If Jesus looks rubbish, if Harry Kane looks rubbish, and I don't feel like I'll be improving my team by putting one of them in instead of Aubameyang, which I doubt is going to happen. I think anything is better than Aubameyang right now, if I'm honest, because he's just not getting much of the ball. He's not shooting enough. He's playing far too wide. It's all the things you don't want. But if they both look rubbish, they both get injured, whatever, then I'll probably just swap Henderson on my bench for Phil Foden. So yeah, that will be the emergency plan. And I'll probably play Phil Foden instead of perhaps Calvert-Lewin. Not sure. So, but yeah, that's a backup plan. We can think about that later. But for the purpose of this video, my most likely transfer plan is Aubameyang to Harry Kane, which will allow me to line up like this, and that's already looking a lot better. It's another green on the board, if you like. So Harry Kane. Depending on when I make this transfer, I could make a profit, I could make a loss. I think Harry Kane is due to go up in price. Aubameyang is due to go down in price. So we'll see. But yeah, against Bournemouth, he's going to look really good. And honestly, I think he could be a captaincy option. So I'd say for this week, my captaincy options are between Bruno Fernandes, very obvious choice, De Bruyne, very obvious choice, and Kane were a little bit out there choice, but it's against Bournemouth, so you do back him to get a couple of goals perhaps, I don't know, quite possibly. So for the purpose of this video, these things change very quickly in FPL, but for the purpose of this video, captaincy for me is going to go on Kevin De Bruyne, just because his consistency and reputation throughout the season, and Newcastle have been showing some fragilities, whereas Aston Villa have been looking strong in defence. So that's my sort of thinking at this very moment. And then Harry Kane perhaps for the vice captain, just because of what I just said about Aston Villa looking good defensively. So yeah, that's the plan at the moment. I think it's a fairly good plan at the moment, but lots of things can change. But hopefully, because I've explained how things can change, you can take that advice, if you like, from there. Okay, so I think we've gone on enough about my team for this particular week. I hope you did enjoy this video. I hope you are as confident in my team as I am. If you do have any suggestions for different changes, perhaps something else I can do, then please do pop that in the comments and see if you can change my mind. That'd be a good little challenge. And then if you have any questions about your own team, whatever, I always answer all of my comments. And on Twitter, if you want to follow me on there, always answer everything. So yeah, get in touch, comment, like, subscribe if you're new, and all that good stuff. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see you tomorrow for a Game Week 34 plus preview video. Catch you later, mates.